Okay.
Hey, Grammie, what you doing?
Well, we were getting ready to read a story aloud.
Oh, what are we going to read today?
Well, it's a new one, and it's called Thankful, So Thankful.
Oh, I'm thankful for so many things. Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. The snow was beautiful. It lay like a giant blanket across the yard, and it seemed so quiet. Johnny was watching the snow as it dropped in huge flakes. It looked like chicken feathers. That's what Daddy said. He had grown up on a little chicken farm in Kentucky, and they got a lot of snow, but they had chickens, and sometimes Daddy would talk about them if Johnny could get him to sit down in the chair long enough to tell the story. Johnny would often look at his dad and he would think, he used to be my age, he lived on a farm, and he did chores just like me. Wow. But the problem was his daddy didn't have much time to tell stories. Daddy was the hardest worker he knew. He worked long hours at the chicken factory in town, and when he got home in the evening and before he left out in the morning, he tended his own little farm. They had chickens for eggs. They had a cow named Bessie for milk and butter. And then his dad had a garden. Dad would plow it up in the spring and would go plant the crops. And then he and his mom would pick them. He would also help his mom string the beans and shell the butter beans.
You know what, Grammie?
What?
My daddy, he reads me a story every night, and I love it so much. But I asked my daddy for chickens, and he said chickens were too much work and he didn't have time for chickens. So I'm just the opposite. I have a story read to me, but I don't have chickens.
Well, everybody can't have chickens.
That's true.
And maybe it's because of where you live.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else they have, Grammie.
Okay. So he had a little sister, and her name was Virgie, but she was just too little to help. She was kind of like this baby girl right here. She just couldn't do all the stuff you needed to do in the garden. So since he couldn't get his daddy to sit down and tell him a story, he decided he would just go lie down on his bed and he would think about the snow and just watch the snowflakes fall. But before long, he was remembering the story his dad told about the great snow when he was a young boy. According to his dad, they lived on a farm too. But it was a big farm. They had a dairy farm with lots of cows for milk and butter. What, baby?
What's a farm, Grammie? I thought a farm I saw on a TV show, and they had like fields and fields and fields of wheat. I thought that was a farm.
It is a farm, but farms grow different things. Some farms have animals like cows or sheep. Some farms have vegetables. Some farms even have all kinds of fruit trees. It's just different things that people grow and produce.
Oh, cool, Grammie. Well, Grammie, I'm going to go lay down and get all snuggly and listen to you read this story to everyone.
Okay. According to his dad, living on that big farm was a lot of work. They had the cows for milk and butter. Grandpa Frank sold the milk and butter to a big plant over in the next city, and if he had anything extra, he would sell it to all the neighbors around in the area. They had a huge dairy barn with a great big stove to keep everybody warm in times of great snowstorms. By 2:00 that afternoon, the snow had begun to pile in drifts, and there was no sign that it might stop anytime soon. Time to put the emergency plan into action. Dad went out to his huge dinner bell on the post and began to ring it. The bell was a signal to everyone in the area that Grandpa Frank would have the dairy barn open if people wanted to bring their families and spend the night, or possibly the next couple of nights where they could be sure they'd be warm. That way they wouldn't get trapped in a house way off by themselves. He rang and rang the bell. In about 2 hours, the first wagon was seen moving slowly up the road towards their dairy barn. Then they looked and saw more people heading that way. Before long, the road was almost filled with buggies and wagons bringing families to safety. As they pulled up to the dairy barn, Daddy could see that each family had brought their contribution to help out with food for everyone. There were 28 families in the area, and By the time the sun was sinking in the west, there were 27 families there gathered under one roof. The women had walked over to the kitchen in the main house and began helping Mom prepare a big stew to feed everybody. They peeled the potatoes, onions, cut up carrots, and had corn and other vegetables. Grandma Weezy started with meat that she had cooked earlier, because she knew this storm was coming, and Grandpa Frank had washed the huge black pot under a shelter, and they began adding all the different things. Before long, the aroma of the fresh stew had everybody's stomach rumbling. Then Grandma Weezy took a big old dipper and filled everybody's bowl that they had brought with them. They brought their own bowl. And she would fill those bowls up, and everybody was so grateful for a hot meal. But Grandpa would always make everyone wait until they said grace. Grandpa Frank believed that we should all thank the good Lord for everything he does for us. What, baby? What?
Grammie, my daddy says that I always have to say the blessing, but do I say the blessing if I just, go get me a cracker?
Well, it doesn't hurt you to say the blessing, because everything you eat comes from the good Lord. If it wasn't for him, you might be hungry.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
So, everybody was so grateful for this hot meal, and they were always willing to bow their heads and most thankful. Most of the time, the local preacher would do the honors, and that night, Pastor Butch stepped forward one more time to pray. God, you are merciful, and we are so thankful. My dad never forgot those first few words, and he too would bow his head at mealtime and start with those few words, even now. After they were all filled, someone would usually pull out their harmonica. You know what a harmonica is?
That's what I was going to ask you, Grammie. What is a harmonica?
It's a little thing you hold in your hands, and it's got holes in it, and if you blow on it, it makes music.
Oh, cool.
So they would pull out their harmonica, and people would begin to sing. The music would drift from the dairy barn and float out over the snow. Snow was beautiful, but these snowstorms could be deadly, and this night was no different. Most folks had brought a blanket and a pillow with them, so people had kind of laid back and relaxed, and wherever they were, and you could hear some soft snoring across the building. The barn was so warm and so inviting. What, baby?
Grammie, guess what?
What?
My daddy snores. Don't tell anybody.
Okay. They were all grateful to be together. About that time, they heard a loud thud. It had hit the barn door. Grandpa Frank ran to see what was out there. Sometimes bears would come close if they smelled food, but tonight, as Grandpa Frank opened the door, he saw a lone figure standing there holding a bundle in its arms. He couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman.
What was it, Grammie? What was it?
Well, just be patient. I'm getting there.
Okay.
But he and a few men ran out into the cold and helped the figure inside. It was a man that they did not know, and in his arms was a tiny baby. Looking behind him, they saw another figure that was slowly moving, and this one was carrying a bundle too. The men rushed to help this figure inside the shelter. Once unwrapped, they found a woman and a little boy.
What?
Yeah, and they seemed to be almost frozen. But once they took the hardened, icy coats off, they were found to be warm on the inside with no visible signs of frostbite. The baby was warm, and it was asleep. Yeah. The man reached out his hand and said, I am Freddie Moss, and this is my wife, Patricia, our son, David, and the baby is Carol. We just moved into the old Owens place. Yeah, Grandpa Frank said, I knew Jake Owens. He was a good man and a good neighbor. We are new to this kind of snow, said Freddie, and we have never seen a storm like this. We thought we were okay at home, but a tree got so much snow on it, and it got so heavy it toppled over onto our little cabin.
No!
Yeah, and our roof had a hole in it.
Oh, I'm going to hide!
And the heat from the cabin stove was useless. We didn't know what we were going to do. And then we heard the music, and as we looked across the field, we could see the lights on in this dairy barn. We knew that it would be hard, but we couldn't stay in the freezing cabin, so we wrapped up the best we could and took off toward the lights and the music. The snow had slowed, but it was still deep, and we had to walk. We did not have a wagon because the wheel had broken, and there was no time for repairs before the snow started.
Grammie, they are having lots and lots of bad things happen.
Yes, sometimes bad things happen to good people.
But it's okay. They have a warm barn now.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yay.
The snow had slowed, and it was still deep, but we had to walk. And it was slow going. And when my little boy, that's 6, David, could walk no farther, his mom picked him up and she just kept walking. I was farther ahead with the baby girl leading the way for them. But Patricia could see me, so she did what moms do. She just kept going. When I finally reached the barn and knocked, that is when you answered, and we found you all and you found us. It was a definite answer to prayer, said Patricia.
Yes, it was.
Yes, and see, sometimes when you need him and you least expect it, God will be right there.
God is so good.
He is. Grandma Wheezy slipped on her coat and ran to the big pot in the shed. She spooned up 3 bowls of hot stew because the embers were still alive and brought it back to them. They looked around them, saw all the smiling faces and the hot food. Then they heard Dad say, Then Dad heard Grandma Wheezy say, "Welcome to New Hope Valley." Without a word, Freddie bowed his head to give thanks for the good Lord showing him the way to safety. Then he looked up and said, "Thank you all for having us. We are so proud to be here with you." Grandpa Frank later explained to Freddie and his wife about the call bell being rung to gather people together for safety during these bad storms, and how the dairy barn was always open to anyone that needed somewhere to sleep and stay warm. "We have to look after each other in little communities," said Grandpa Frank. Freddie laughed and said, "Next time I will listen for that cowbell." I heard them, but I didn't know what they meant. The next couple of days was tough, but on the 3rd day, each family was able to go back home. Grandpa Frank lined up a few men that went over with Freddie, and they repaired his roof and repaired the wheel on his wagon.
Grammie, it's some really nice people in this place. What was it called? New Hope Valley?
New Hope Valley.
I want to live there.
Well, you have nice people that live everywhere. You just have to see it in people. That afternoon, Freddie returned in his wagon with a new wheel on it to fetch his little family. Everybody was safe. What a wonderful story, thought Johnny. His Grandpa Frank was a hero. He kept all of those people safe, and everybody was so thankful. God had given them something special that night, and they were all so thankful for the new friends, their safe arrival, the warm food, and a warm place to sleep. Tommy realized something else. His dad was just like Grandpa Frank. He helped everybody, and Johnny was so proud of them both. He wanted to grow up to be just like them.
Me too, Grammie, me too.
Yes, everybody should want to be like these people because they loved God with all their heart, and they shared that love to everyone they knew.
That's what God makes you do. When He gets a hold of you and gets in your heart, you want to be good.
That's right. That night, when Johnny said his prayers, he asked God to please make him like his dad and Grandpa Frank, and to make him thankful always. I hope y'all enjoyed the story.
I did.
And we look forward to seeing you here again at Wanna Hear a Story with Grammie.
Grammie, can we say a Bible verse again?
Sure we can. Turn to Matthew 22:39. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
And you know what, Grammie? My Sunday school teacher told me that my neighbor was everybody, not just people who live beside of me.
Exactly. Anybody you come in contact with, you're supposed to love them.
And I do. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Toodles.
Toodles.
best friends are always with me. We sing, we dance, we laugh, we are happy every day. Have fun with us, let's say happy, 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 happy. Happy. Happy, 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 happy. It is my happy day, I want to sing it all the day. My best friends are always with me. We sing, we dance, we laugh, we are happy every day. Have fun with us, let's say happy, happy, happy.